Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Bowhunt or Die. You know, Justin, it's the middle of July, and let's face it, I mean, a lot of us got other responsibilities and kids and so forth. We're all trying to do the most that we can to prepare for this fall, but man, before you know it, it sneaks up quick. And we're going to be hunting before you know it.
Yeah, definitely. So, in this episode, guys, what we have a lot of coming up is really some advice on food plots and tips and tactics and things that maybe a lot of people don't think about when they're out, planning and planting those food plots. But before we get into that, we do have some arrow slinging action. So, Todd, what are we starting with?
Well, we're going to join up with a few of our crew members as they go out on a little bow fishing adventure. And you know what? These are fun to watch. I mean, Mike went out, bought a boat this year, dove into it, and let's just take a look.
Okay guys, it is middle of June right now, 2015. A lot of times you guys don't get to see things that we do in the off season outside of deer and turkey hunting or putting our food plots in. This year I decided to buy myself a boat and get it set up with lights and a generator, trolling motor. So I bought a pontoon so I could use it as a family cruiser and get out and do some bow fishing off the deck of this thing. So I just ordered 8 of these 50 watt 110 volt Night Ranger lights from RPM, and they seem to be really good lights, really good in murky or clear water, which is basically what we're going to be shooting all the backwaters of the rivers. So I'm pretty jacked up about it. I can't wait for Nick to get here so we can start working on this thing and getting it wired up, and hopefully I can get out there tonight and shoot a few fish and let you guys see what it looks like. Bowhunt or Die, guys.
All right, well, it's Sunday, June 14th, and I'm doing something that I haven't done before. I'm here meeting up with fellow pro staffers Mike Pierce and Tim Ainsworth, and we're gonna go bow fishing this morning. We're gonna try and get some carp. I came all the way from our property. It's about 2 hours away from here. Thought I was running late. I show up and there's a truck and a boat and Tim, but no Mike. He forgot the boat keys, so he had to run back. Now Tim had to run down to the local gas station, take care of some business. So now I am here by myself. Hopefully we can get this together this morning and get some carp in the boat. So we'll see you out on the river hopefully here in the next 20 minutes. Bowhunt or Die. Whoa, fearless leader. No, you are wearing that shirt. I knew it.
Why not? Come on. Oh, right there. Got him.
Oh, where's the bow? Yeah. Well, Tim's got to clean the boat.
20-yard shot.
Troy's got to clean the boat out.
20-yard shot right there.
Bowhunt or Die.
That was a great shot. That's how you clean your river system, boys.
Somebody got him. Got him. Oh, don't even kill it. Good. baby.
I hit him.
Would you look at that? Look at that. Look at that. Just a baby. Right behind the door.
Damn.
All right, so it's about 4:30, and an end to a long but successful day. We started out the day, I got on the road about 2 a.m. We were trying to get out on the water by 4:30, but had a few hiccups. Captain here forgot the keys to the boat, so that hung us up for a little while. Then once we finally got out on the water, we ran into some rough weather. We had rain today, but it finally cleared up. We got into some bays and we were able to have some success. This was my first time ever bow fishing. It was a blast, and I was actually able to get a few and contribute, and everybody did. It was just a great time. If you haven't had the opportunity to get out bow fishing, you got to get yourself a setup. Get out on a river, on a lake. It's a blast, and it's something that you can just do during the summer. Get your bow out. So it was a great time, a lot of success, hanging out with good friends. Nothing better. Bowhunt or die.
Well, don't forget to check your local DNR rules of where you can shoot projectiles on waterways, and all you need is a fishing license in the state of Illinois. Other states, make sure you check before you go out there and start flinging arrows so you don't get yourself in trouble. That's it. Have fun, guys. Bowhunt or die.
You know, Todd, like Mike and Tim and Troy told us, I mean, bow fishing's a blast. Obviously, they go out, they're shooting a lot of arrows, which I think is probably the funnest part of bow fishing. I mean, when you sit back and really think about, let's say, an average deer hunting season, how many times does most people get to shoot their bow at an animal in a regular hunting season? 2 or 3 times? You know, that's a good year. Some people don't get to shoot at all. You go out shooting fish, I mean, you're shooting 10, 20, 30, plus shots per outing, which I think is, one of the more exciting things about bow fishing.
Yeah, you're right, Justin. I mean, and the reality is, bow fishing is getting significantly bigger. I know that we've decided to buy a boat. Next year, you're going to be able to watch me and Justin do a little bow fishing. This could be exciting. But, it's getting big. Brody Swisher, does a lot of writing on our website. There's been all kinds of cool articles that he's been submitting. If you're interested in getting into some of the tournaments and stuff like that, it's a whole another world out there that you can dive into nowadays, and I think it's great.
Well, yeah, and there's almost an unlimited amount of places that you can do it. There's really no closed seasons. There's no bag limits. It's just a really fun way to get out there. Kids love to do it,
right.
Flinging arrows. You could do it during the summertime. You don't have to worry about wind direction or being quiet or any of that stuff. So it's definitely a little bit of a departure from the average, big game hunting that we're used to. So that was a cool segment. Hope to see some more bow fishing out of the rest of our team this year. But next up, Todd, like we told everybody, food plots.
Yes.
We got 3 great segments. We're going to start with Clinton. Then we're going to check in with Todd actually doing some electric fence work, and we're going to wrap up with Tom Alford, all here in Illinois. So let's check those out now.
Hey guys, it's Clinton Fawcett here checking in from Central Illinois. Tonight it is about 7:30 p.m. on June the 23rd. I know it seems like it's a little late to be working on food plots, but when you've got 3 kids, the 4th one on the way, ball games every night, life becomes a little busy. So you just have to take the time that you got and try to get your stuff done. But what I wanted to go over tonight was a few things that I'm going to start doing, manipulating our food plots, preparing for our fall food plots to go in, and what we're going to do to try to key in on these early season deer. Now this food plot behind me, we call it the salad bar. This food plot's about 5 acres total. We've been lucky enough on this farm. This farm's only 70 acres. It's one of the 3 small farms that Frank and I hunt. But we've got this old pasture that lays right here in the center. On this end of the pasture, we've got about 2 acres of beans. Surprisingly, they look pretty good. We've had a lot of water, a lot of rain this spring, and the beans have they've not grown very fast because they've been so wet. Back behind there, right now, there's an acre of buck oats and winter rye that I planted in there last fall. Now, if you remember back from turkey season, I had a couple good encounters with turkeys. They come across that rye and the oats, and they were only about that tall. Well, now, as you'll see in a few minutes, they're probably 3 to 4 feet. That rye is going to play a very important part in what we're going to put in there this fall, and it's also going to help improve our soil. Behind the rye is an old patch of clover. I've already plowed a little bit of it up because I had a bad thistle problem this spring, but there's also still a lot of thistles coming back. So I'm going to go back there and make that bigger. But like I said, this is probably our very best early season spot. And since my wife and I's fourth child is due October 21st, not very good planning. It's going to be important for me to try to get something done early in the season. The other thing that we're going to do while we're back there is we're going to mow. A lot of people, I think, look past how beneficial mowing is. Not just mowing around your food plots and keeping the weeds down, but manipulating where the deer walk by the paths that you mow. So I'll show you a little bit of that when we get back there, but I'm going to get busy before it gets dark. Now, if there's any of you out there that are not planting some type of cereal grain in the fall, I prefer buck oats with some rye mixed in. You're really missing out because there's a lot of benefits to planting cereal grains on your ground. The first thing I like about them the most is they will grow anywhere. You could probably put them on a gravel road, and if they get wet, they're going to come up. So when you have these real junky food plots, you know, the farmer leaves you a little bit of ground. Of course, it's going to be the worst thing he's got, or you develop something out of some CRP, or you come back in here and carve it into an old cattle pasture. The soil's not very good. Even after you put your fertilizer on and lime it and do all your stuff, it's still that hard pan clay. It doesn't have any matter in it. You know, it just gets real hard when it rains. So your type cereal grains, you know, your buck oats and your rye, they're great for that because the first thing they do, like I said, is they'll grow anywhere. Two, their roots go down deep and they draw up a lot of nutrients and they provide a lot of natural nitrogen back into the soil. So what we like to do is we plant them 1st of September, 2nd week of September every year. The deer will absolutely destroy them as soon as they come up. In the spring, the turkeys love them, okay? A lot of guys spray it and kill it before they let it grow. Now what we've done here is we've let it get 3 or 3.5 foot tall. It's went to seed, it's got a head on it. But the important thing is here is now we provided all this matter for the ground. So when I mow it, all this stuff's gonna go down, it's gonna mulch up, and when I plow it, that's gonna go under the soil and rot. So we'll roll this over today, then we'll be back in here with the disc and probably end of July, beginning of August, and we'll always follow this up with our heartland radishes or turnips because it just creates a great seed bed and it helps improve your soil. It's more bang for your buck on your money. It definitely helps out. All right, guys, well, now that we've got that rye all mowed and taken care of, it's about 8 o'clock. The mosquitoes are absolutely eating me up. I figured I'd go ahead and finish this out and show you the back end of this plot. Now, last year this was clover. I came in here this spring and I tilled it up. Now, there's going to be a few things that are very important about this spot that I want to walk through. First of all, this is now going to become our buck oat and rye mix. So, like I said, I just mowed the rye over here, but where this clover is going to become oats and rye. What that allows us to do is now every year we have a rotation. Oats and rye here, radishes and turnips on this side, next year vice versa. That really helps improve your soil for one, and two, the rye adds back a lot of nitrogen, improves the soil, and saves you on the nitrogen that you need for your radish and turnips, so it saves you some money. Now, one of the other things that is very important about this food plot, and I'll show you here on Google Earth, is we've created like a bottleneck here, like, you know, it necks down to the back end of this food plot. You can see that we're probably 400 yards from the back end of this neck. We planted food plots in the front, left the north half of this to grass and a great bedding area that's in the back. So the whole time that we carved this out and built it, we necked this down and made it skinnier. So right here, our stands off to my left, our food plot is only 50 yards wide as compared out here where it's 150 yards wide. The other thing that we're going to do back here is we're going to get on this tractor and we're going to mow us up one path along the stand side of this neck. Now, deer, just like us, they're lazy. You know, it's the path of least resistance. You know, I'm an electrician. I always like to think in school they taught me electricity always follows the path of least resistance. That's exactly what a deer does 90% of the time. They're going to come out all summer. They don't want to walk through that tall grass. They're going to walk on that nice, easy mowed path. Now, I'm not going to mow it right against the timber where it kind of pinches them. I've learned over the years you're better off to scoot it out a little ways off the woods, you know, 15, 20 yards. And where you have them neck down at the end of your food plot, You also don't want it to be too tight, because what will happen is now we've got this bigger area out here. The deer come down their path of least resistance into the food plot, but they've got that tall grass and they get out here in the open and they can't see, so they're a little nervous, and a lot of times they'll go by you too fast, and it creates for a little hectic trying to get a good shot. So what you want to do is you want to keep it wide enough at the back that they can feel comfortable to come out into it, but not so wide that you're not going to get a shot. That's why you keep that path out about 20 yards off the timber. Chances are by the time they get to you, you're going to have somewhere between a 20 and a 40-yard shot. Pretty comfortable for most of us shooting our bows. So as far as it goes for tonight, that's going to be it. I mean, these bugs are getting terrible, but this, like I said before, this is one of our absolutely best spots. And the thing that is it just lays out perfect. It's one of those places that you don't find a lot on farms. You know, we've been very blessed and fortunate on this farm to be able to put this food plot right dead center in it and for it to lay out this way. But I'm not a betting man, but I got a pretty good feeling that this fall I'll be able to show you just how this was designed to work.
Well, we're trying to beat the rain. Yesterday was great. We got just about everything done we wanted to. All of our beans are in the ground. We've got a couple corn strips here, which is going to be perfect to help lead those deer right past our stands. At least that's the goal. We planted all kinds of clover yesterday, the Heartland brand, so we got that going all around our edges. So this place is going to really start shaping up here if we get this rain especially. They're calling for about almost 5 days of rain, so Craig and I are trying to hit it as quick as we can to get all this stuff done. But what we learned last year, put the electrical fence in along with that plot saver. I put the plot saver on the inside, electrical fence on the outside. The combination of the two of them. This particular piece of property is pretty remote, and when you plant beans, I'll tell you what, they can come in here and they can eat from sun up to sundown and you won't have a bean left. So last year we started doing this technique and it really paid off. So we're going to go ahead and try to beat this rain. It's a heck of a storm coming in here, so we're going to we got to get this going. We got quite a bit to do, so join us. Well, it's just starting to rain pretty hard right now. We've got about only 4,000 volts going around it. That's not exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for a little bit more than that, but I think the battery's not fully charged, so we're just gonna have to leave it alone here. But it's starting to really come down pretty hard right now, so at least we've got the majority of the fence up. You know, having the plot saver on the inside, which will spray, we'll keep the electric fence on the outside. This will really protect this plot come fall. We should have a real good growth here and make for some good hunting. Let's do it. Who doesn't like a little bit of bacon in the morning? Well, it's time to start getting the trail cameras out, guys. Drove out here early this morning. We got about 10 cameras we're gonna put up. Hey, there's only $1 to chase on this property. Wow, $2. Baconator and STD. It's time to start getting some photos, start seeing if they're still living in the same areas that they've been in. Only time will tell, but you know what? Man, I tell you, we got this crazy 44-degree weather here. It's I believe it's June 1st. So I figured, hey, let's take advantage of this nice cool day, get out and get these trail cameras hung. It's so much better putting these things up when it's nice and cool out versus when you're sweating like crazy. So we got at least 10, 12 cameras we want to get up in some pretty selective spots. And I guess time will tell. Let's hope bacon's alive. Hopefully I'm not getting a bunch of guys that are cranky with me because I'm starting to put the hit down on bacon here. I know Justin's #1 hit list buck, but it's time for me to start seeing if I can find that buck as well. So let's go do it. We're teaming up. Justin and I are teaming up on Baconator this year. That's the plan. So here goes. Well, this is one of the spots that we were regularly getting pictures of bacon on. It's just a great, huge apple tree. He was living in this area last year for, I don't know, for quite a while. We got a lot of pictures of him right here. So we're going to, we got the stealth cam set up right over here. Craig's getting rid of some of these big weeds so it doesn't ruin our camera shots. But there's a lot of apples already starting to grow on this tree. So this is a good spot to come back in about 2-3 months and see if he's still living in this area. So the goal today is to find out where the beans are planted, see what other food sources are around so we can start getting our bearings on where he could be heading this year. So let's go. Well, we're definitely getting in the heart of June here. Beans and corn, if you got them in the ground, it's definitely time to start spraying. Probably a little behind here. The weeds are just starting to get into this field pretty heavy, but I think I caught it just in time. They're calling for rain the next couple of days, so I wanted to slip out here and get these 2 fields sprayed. But check out a couple other plots of mine, and then of course keep an eye on the fall plots, making sure that those don't get overtaken with weeds as well, because it just makes your job a lot simpler the later it gets into fall when you get those fall food plots in the ground. So got a lot of spraying to do today, a few cameras to check. Otherwise, that's it. It's just maintenance stuff during the summer that you got to prepare for ahead of time if you want to have a successful fall. It's best to take care of the stuff early than wait to try to do it all in the end. So hopefully, I'm also going to check one tree stand too to make sure that thing's ready to go. But let's do it. I got a full day of activities here planned, so I'm going to try to get them all done. You know, one question we get asked a lot is, how can I keep track of where I'm spraying on these smaller plots? That was a problem that I had about maybe 4 years ago until I met this company called Crop Care. I tell you what, guys, for the small ATV sprayers, which is of course not what I'm filming right here, but when I was using the Ranger and we were using 4-wheelers, this company makes this foam sprayer which you can add. Basically, it's a foam marking system that you can add on any of your smaller sprayers, which is a gem. And we all know how expensive the chemicals can be to keep these food plots clean. But I'll tell you what, having this foam marking system makes spraying so much simpler. You know that you're not doubling up on areas. You know exactly where you've been. And it's just a great product. It's worth all the money. Look them up on the web, cropcare.com. I'll tell you what, it's definitely worth your effort in researching this thing. This thing is just dynamite. It has really saved me a ton of time and energy, so take a look at it. Well, I'm all finished now. I was able to get my beans and corn sprayed. They're calling for rain next couple of days, which would just be perfect timing. They absolutely needed it. This plot here is actually significantly cleaner than the top plot, but got the electric fence in, plot saver, which is sprayed on the inside. This double combo works perfect for keeping the deer out. Put a few more stealth cams up. I'm pretty much going to just leave this place alone now for a while. I'll have to hit the perimeter because it's tough with the booms without laying the whole fence down. That's too much work. So I'll just drive around the perimeter with the hand sprayer. That way nothing grows up onto the fence and then shorts it out. But otherwise, let's go. Fall time.
All right, well, hello there. It's June 21st. I'm back at my food plot. I really put a lot of hard work into my food plots this year. You know, between renting the big tractor and multiple visits out here, spraying, getting out here with the kids, driving the 4-wheeler around, pulling weeds, chainsawing all winter. We've really put some serious time into these food plots. So basically, I'll show you. This is my first set. This is the north set, I call it. It's basically for all those cold winter, late October, early November days when the bucks start getting out and moving early. They really like to follow the woods here behind me. We all know they're creatures of the edge, and they follow this edge. So you can see right here what I did is I just put a small clover plot in here. This is all that Heartland clover I planted back in April, really early. Basically, I've got a tree stand right there. There's soybeans coming down to right in front of me, and then right here where the clover starts, it's about an 18-yard shot. So all I'm trying to do is get the bucks to move down this edge, give them something to feed on, and then create a little line in front of me where hopefully they just turn broadside, will walk right in front of me, right by that little stick and pick, is what they have been doing, and keep moseying on down. Well, that's all I need is an 18-yard chip shot. All right, so this is kind of like the second part of the food plot, basically smack dab in the center. What I found last year was the deer really like to hit the scrape. I've got a Tinks mock scrape set up here under an apple tree. I spent a lot of time in the winter pruning these apple trees, and I can tell you right now that that thing was about 5 feet higher last year. But there's so many apples on that tree now, it's looking really good. Okay, so as you can see, I went a little crazy, but I cut these huge holes through the bed, through these woods into the bedding area, and it's a dirt path. The deer are really using these trail systems awesome. I mean, the last time I was up here, I was in my tree stand doing a quick little interview, kind of showing an overview of the food plot from that tree stand, and a doe had walked out, cruised right in front of my first tree stand, and then went right up here and ran right into that trail system because they feel safe. I cut big holes all over everything, so not only can they go find a place to bed, they can escape any direction. At this point, I'm not going in there anymore. I don't need to. It's all about just letting them sit. Okay, well, this is pretty much the final piece of the puzzle here for my food plots. It's everything's looking really good. Like I said before, we busted our butts. We did a lot of planting, took a lot of time, and tried to really do it right this year. But it looks phenomenal. You know, even these little clover strips here, these are pretty much planted for deer movement and to give them something to nibble on, but just creating all these lines right to my tree stand. But where I'm standing right now is basically underneath my tree stand, 5 yards away. Last field here is just a total mix. It was pretty much everything I had left in the bags from this year and last year. I'm just gonna let it go. It's gonna get tall. There's beans in there, there's chicory, there's radishes, there's clovers, there's all kinds of stuff. It's just a crazy combination of seeds going on there, but I'm really looking forward to sitting in this tree opening day. I know I'm gonna get a lot of deer moving through here. There's not a lot going on right now. The bucks just do not spend a lot of time at this point in the season here, but they'll be back, and I've got a lot of good ones. I mean, I've picked up sheds and got some good ones from last year that I know made it, and they've been nibbling in here a little bit, so everything's looking really good for this year, 2015, my bow season. Gonna put a big one down in this field. Bow hunt or die.
You know, Justin, you sit back and watch this episode and you see all the different guys putting all their hard work into these different food plots. I mean, I think back, you know, almost 8-10 years ago when I first started doing food plots, and I mean, they didn't start off this extravagant. I mean, I know when I first started doing food plots, they were a lot smaller. I was using four-wheelers, doing a lot of throw and grow type stuff, and you can absolutely create and take small areas and definitely create little honey holes. So don't be necessarily discouraged if you're watching, you know, maybe my footage, I'm putting in a big plot. You know, you can take these little areas and you can be just as effective, especially using those electric fence to keep the deer out of those smaller areas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, time and time again, we've seen, you know, proof of guys putting in small food plots, doing a lot of manual labor and having it pay off. But I think, you know, the most important thing to take away from most of these segments here is just that the planning and preparation and thought process that goes into putting a food plot in. You don't want to arbitrarily just kind of pick a spot and put some food there. And yeah, you may attract some deer in there, but I mean, thinking about how you're going to get in, how you're going to get out, what wind direction you're going to hunt it on, where the deer are going to be coming from, where they're bedding in relation to where your food is at. I mean, all those things you have to keep in mind. And, you know, some of that stuff you can control, some of it you can't. Right. In the event that you can control it, I mean, I think Tommy showed us, you know, a good idea, which was, you know, planting different types of food, different types of cover, some that was lower, some that was shorter, you know, creating those edges, because as we all know, I mean, deer like to run those edges. And then also he's creating some travel corridors and some paths, you know, through the woods that end up out in his food plot, similar to Clinton talking about mowing that path at the end of his food plot. Same type of thing to kind of help manipulate the movement of those deer to get them close enough for a shot.
Yeah, and I mean, I know when it comes to Tommy's segment specifically, I mean, he didn't necessarily take you into the woods and show you all the work that he's done. But I mean, I know months ago he was in there cutting and hacking away and creating those trails a long time ago because his goal was to get that part done early, stay out, create the food plots, and just create those corridors for those deer just to show up in that spot.
He says he's going to stay out, but every time I talk to him, he's in there checking his trail cameras or doing something else. So it can be, I guess, a little bit addicting. So we'll have to, wait and see how these food plots pan out this fall. Pretty cool segment. So next up, Todd, we're going to, of course, take a couple seconds to thank the guys who sent us in their trophy photos for this week's episode. Chandler Van Stratton,
Dustin Edwards,
Jeremy James,
Kyle Lawrence,
and Todd Stein. Hey, congratulations, everybody. Those are some great trophies. Now remember, you want to see yourself right here in an episode of Bowhunt or Die, you can post your photos on our Facebook page, or you can go to bowhunting.com and use the Submit Your Trophy button on the homepage. So Todd, that's all we've got for this episode. 2 weeks, we had another episode. Hopefully, some velvet bucks. That's what we're looking for, right?
Well, I know for a fact a lot of people were putting trail cameras out during the 4th of July weekend. I mean, it seems like almost everyone that I called and I talked to was all getting jacked up about putting cameras out this last week.
I was in northern Michigan fishing for smallmouth.
The question is, did you catch any?
I did catch some, actually.
But you notice he went like this.
I
may have caught one.
No, I caught definitely more than one. I'm better, hopefully, at fishing than I am at hunting these last couple of years. So, that's all we've got for this week's show. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we'll have some big velvet bucks to show you. So, check back, Bowhunt or Die.
In the meantime, don't forget to check out facebook.com/bowhunting for daily updates, news, photos, and other exciting information. We want to hear your opinions and your stories, so join us now and like us on Facebook.
But it's not coming off.
I'm glad that Clinton is providing maps because I know exactly where this is. I know what highway this is. You and I can make it right through here.
I already have a stand over here. I just didn't tell Clinton about it yet.
Oh, well then I can bring my stand and we can do a double set. You shoot yours?
Yeah, you go down on this end of the field when
Okay.
they come out. And then if you don't get them, I'll get them when they come down here.
Okay.
That's better for